Okay, I'm going to quickly go over some ideas of virtual environments. And this is all driven by the need to create a variety of Python environments on your computers for different applications. So most Linux systems these days have both a Python 2x and a Python 3x installed. And these different versions of Python are differentiated by name. For example, the command for Python 2x and Python 3 might be Python for Python 2 and Python 3 for Python 3. That's how it is on my computer. If Python 3 is your default installation, then it'll have the name Python, and the Python 2x will be differentiated by Python 2. And similarly, this goes on for pip, IPython, etc. All these Python-related executables are differentiated by the names that are associated with them. If you want to create different versions of Python 2x with different packages for different projects. For example, I might have a legacy code which is dependent on an older version of Pandas, and I haven't updated my code to make the dependencies work for the newer versions. I may want to have a Python environment where I have Python Pandas version 0.14 installed, whereas for all the new things I'm working on, I want to keep up to date with the newest versions, and so I want to use Pandas 0.16. Well, for this kind of solution, virtual environments are the solution. So Python does not have native support for virtual environments, but third-party packages have been created, primarily the VirtualEnv environment, and then a very nice set of tools that wrap around that to make the functionality for us simpler. VirtualEnv wrapper. Anaconda has its own virtualization tool, so when working with Anaconda, we want to stick with its virtualization system. Now, in Anaconda, virtual environments are created using Conda, and whenever I kind of need to work through details of this myself, I just go to this blog post from Continuum that describes it, and it's just kind of the quick reference that I pull up to guide me through what I'm trying to do. So if I want to find out information about my existing virtual environments, then the command would be conda info-e. Now, I cannot get this to run from my notebooks because I'm running from a virtual environment, and it seems that in the virtual environments, conda is not installed. I'll be curious of whether you can run it from your notebook if you're not using a virtual environment. But if I go to a shell and do conda info-e. This is listing all the virtual environments that I've created. So 6521 is the one that I use for this class. I have NLP projects, and I have an NLP project where I'm using Python version 3, an environment for my daughter. These are various students, different programming language, Julia, so forth. Now, to create a virtual environment, the command syntax is conda create -n followed by the name of the environment I'm going to create. That I'm going to basically be using the Anaconda package, and then any specific aspects of that environment that I want to use, like which package versions, etc. So here's a command to create a virtual environment named np 1.6. where I'm using Anaconda and I'm installing the NumPy package version 1.6. And create an additional environment named np 1.7, where in this one I'm going to use NumPy version 1.7. Anaconda that we're using includes both Python 2.7 and Python 3.4, and so we can create a virtual environment that runs on Python 3.4. And so here would be do conda create -n, the name. In this case, it'll be Python 3k. And I'm going to set Python equal to 3.4, and I'm going to be installing Anaconda. So let's just test this. This is telling me all the things that it's going to create in this environment. And for the most part, it's going to use hard links, so it's not downloading new data as much as possible. And it'll go around, and for packages I don't have already installed, it's downloading these and installing them. If you're creating an environment, if you're primarily using Python 2 and you're creating Python 2 spin-offs, then you're not going to have to download as much. Okay, so if I have a virtual environment on my computer and I want to replicate the environment for, say, the purpose of computational reproducibility, I want to know what my entire computing environment is. And so I can use Conda to tell me all the packages that I have installed in that particular environment. So while that's running, let's see if I bring up another one. Say I do source. This is jumping ahead. I'll show you this in a second. I can do Conda list. And these are all the packages that are installed in the Python environment that I'm using for teaching this class. So what I would like to be able to do is export that, so I have that as a list that I can use for creating another virtual environment. And so Conda has this capability built in, so I can do Conda list and then I can export it. And let me do that command first. And so here we see we got a slightly different format that instead of using the name, so now I have, it's telling me what platform I'm in, what license I'm using, and then the package and the version number. So then I can, if I use the full syntax I have here, I can take that file and I can redirect it to I can take this list and I can redirect it to a file so that it's saved. And now if I look at, okay, so that's all been written to disk, and now I can create a new virtual environment that uses all those packages. So if I go back to my shell, and I'm going to call it my 6521 clone, and then that's going through creating this new virtual environment that matches everything that I have set up in my class environment. Okay, so once we've created these, the way that we activate or deactivate those, so we can switch between them, the syntax here is source, activate, and then the name of the virtual environment that we want to activate. So if I want to source, let's see, if I just see what the name of the one I created was, Python 3K. So I do source activate py3k. And now it's showing me that it's discarding from my path users Brian Anaconda bin, which was the default Python install location. And now it's prepending to my path Anaconda and envns py3k bin. So now when I type like which Python to see which one I'm using, you see that now the Python command points to the Python executable that's located in my py3k bin directory. So if I do Python now, you see I'm running Python version 3.4.3. And if I look at what my path is, you see that I'm having my path is looking in Anaconda environments, Python 3k, lib, and so forth. Now if I want to deactivate it, so I turn off my virtual environment, I just source deactivate. And now I'm back to my normal Python distribution.